The written statement of Secretary Collins will be entered into the hearing record. Now we will proceed to questions. General Bergman, you're recognized for 7 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I'll cut right to the chase. I was encouraged by your recent comments at a cabinet meeting highlighting the importance of advancing research into psychedelic treatments to improve care for our veterans, actually breakthrough therapy care. Last January, VA issued a request for application for proposals from VA network researchers to study such treatments. And in December, VA announced $1.5 million in funding for MDMA-assisted therapy, the first VA-funded study for psychedelic-assisted therapy since the 1960s. Question, could you talk a bit, even if a little bit, about the studies being supported by these funds? Do you have any visibility on that yet?
We're getting there, Congressman, and I think that is one of the things that I've started to look at. I'm also probably one of the first of the secretaries who've actually decided that we will take a look at it, that we're not simply putting it off, and we're going to do everything we possibly can under the rules given to us by Congress to actually continue that look. What we're seeing so far is positive. What we're seeing so far in some of the studies that are related to VA and also outside of VA as well is that there has been, especially when it comes to PTS and also traumatic brain injury and others, we're seeing some actual positive outcomes there, especially when it is coupled with intense counseling. And I think that's one of the keys that we look forward to. There's 11 current studies that are either with VA or around VA and that we're going to continue to look at. And I'm committed to working with the administration, but also in what we're doing across the lines with Health and Human Services and also at DOD to say how can we actually make this a possibility. Now I will say this, I do not believe it is a magic cure. I do not believe that it will work for everyone, but it is something that could work for some, and we're going to continue to look at it.
Thank you. And Congressman Correa and I lead the PATH caucus here in Congress, and I'd like basically to consider you consider committing to incorporating congressional voices in some of these important conversations, because over the last couple of years, we as the caucus have had some really spectacular research speakers come in. So if we can be included as appropriate, that would be great.
Of course, Congressman.
Secondly, choice for veterans. I appreciate your acknowledgement that VA is in desperate need of reform. For too long, veterans have been forced into a one-size-fits-all bureaucracy that fails to deliver to them the earned care and benefits in a timely manner. Under the Biden administration, the agency experienced huge backlogs and rising care wait times. Something has to change, and it's our job to make the change. The VA committee recently approved the Choice for Veterans Act here last week in this room, a bill that Chairman Boston and I had introduced to help veterans secure their disability benefits by expanding access to accredited representation and imposing new penalties on bad actors in that space who are seeking to prey on vulnerable claimants. Do you believe that expanding the options available to veterans, particularly by allowing them to work with trusted, accredited representatives, that could help improve the outcomes they experience when they're pursuing their benefits? So basically, all good actors accredited, no bad actors.
I think anyone that helps the veterans get what they need is something that we need to look at. But I'm going to also take it a different step, if for just a second. It is fundamentally flawed in my mind that we have a system in which veterans have earned benefits that they feel like they need to get somebody to help them with to get. And I think this goes back to a core statement for whichever, I think for both sides of the aisle. Why do we have a system in which you have a veteran who has served our country, earned a benefit, have to go through a process in which they feel like that they have to get outside help to do that? Whether, accredited, unaccredited, have that choice. What we're looking at right now, and I've talked to every regional office I've went to and every other, is how do we make this process simpler? There's an interesting page for me that I found the other day that when you're beginning your claim for disability, do you realize that we have a whole sheet that asks for your entire military history, basically, and where you served and when you served? We don't need that. We just need their name, their social security number, their date of birth. We can get that. Why are we making them fill that out? This is the kind of stuff we're talking about, and that makes general sense to most everyone. So we're looking at any way we can to help the veteran get the benefit they need, but we're starting internally to make sure that we can do the administrative stuff we need so that you can cut through the bureaucracy to get the benefit that you need and get it done quickly.
Absolutely, and the idea that only within the VA can the responsibility reside for really solid, exact accreditation on all counts. Who's ever asking to be accredited, that's in the VA's ballpark, and that's what we're asking for, is that the VA will actually accept that responsibility. And that's where the key is, I think, in the better outcomes for the veterans in the appeals process.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things I will state, that to get that started with us is in accreditation. It's sort of outside our scope as far as us accrediting outside individuals, but we're willing to do whatever the Congress asks on that, and we're going to focus it, and we'll make sure that the resources are available to make that happen. Can I also hit, though, you talked about community care, because this is actually where this all goes. I don't agree, and this is just a difference of opinion. I don't agree that community care is a giveaway to private physicians and public hospitals. In fact, I think that's the actual non-intent of the Mission Act, was if you met criteria, you could go outside the system, or wait times, or even the fifth number is where it's the best medical interest of the patient, between the doctor and the patient. This is something we've got to deal with as well, is that is the intent of the law, and that, that we're not taking VA care from one and giving it to other. VA care, we're expressed in our hospitals or expressed through community care, in which we're paying for, is VA care, and we're going to hold it to the highest standards.
Thank you, and with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back 40 seconds.